Hi, so a couple days ago I put a post out on my community tab asking for feedback now that I have 100,000 subscribers, just asking people like what they think could be improved, what kind of content they'd like to see, that kind of thing. I'm a very data-driven person. I like to read reviews and criticism because it helps me be better and give you guys a better viewing experience. And so there were a lot of common threads that popped up in the almost 400 responses that I got to this survey I put out and in that comment thread. And so I want to take this time on my second channel to address some of the more frequently asked questions. So the first question is the one that I get most frequently, which is, why don't I post content about RuPaul's Drag Race anymore? If you are somehow unfamiliar, the reason why this channel took off however many years ago now is because I made a video about RuPaul's Drag Race season 13. Drag Race is my favorite show. I've been watching it since I was in high school, and at the time I was just looking for some kind of video topic to break through to the algorithm. I had 100 subscribers, and the video I made about season 13 kind of blew up. It got hundreds of thousands of views, and basically overnight I went from 100 subscribers to 13,000. At that point, I didn't really want to just niche myself down as a Drag Race creator. However, what I found helpful around that time was every time I did make a video about Drag Race, whether it be a breakdown of a specific season or something about a new season or whatever, my views would go up instantly. It was like a money printing machine. I would put out, a video about something else and it would get 10k views, and then I would put out a Drag Race video and it would get 30, 40k views. And now that's, now that I've grown, that's what I consider to be a lower performing video. There were videos I put out about Drag Race that would get over 100k occasionally, but that was always a very rare thing. And so over time, as my audience got more diverse, as I got more videos that started suddenly breaking through the algorithm that weren't about Drag Race, it became this kind of weird situation where I would post a Drag Race video and they would underperform significantly. So what used to be a surefire bet for me to get, seen by a lot of people, the videos would just start flopping. And if you don't know how YouTube works, that kind of performance, is treated as an outlier by the algorithm, and then your content is less likely to get pushed out in general. And I know that if you're not a YouTuber, you don't give a shit about that, and that's fine. You want your favorite creators to make videos about, things that they want to make videos about, regardless of how they perform. And I understand that completely. It is really frustrating when you're on the creator side of it though, and you feel like you're taking these hits every time a video underperforms. You feel like it's another hurdle that you have to climb. So it's a little bit of that. It's a little bit of at this point, the people who come here for my Drag Race content are such a small minority compared to everybody else in my subscriber base. And it's also the fact that I feel like I've said almost everything that I need to say, and I have other outlets to talk about Drag Race. Those other outlets, if you are unfamiliar, is a little podcast called The Rigged Recap, which I do with Derek, also known as The Drag Detective. I was his co-host for all of season 16, and it went so well that I am back for All Stars 9. So if you want to see me talk about the show on a weekly basis, we do pretty much a deep dive and recap of all of the episodes. So all of season 16 is available. We are in the middle of recording All Stars 9 now. So if you want your Drag Race fix from me, you can go there for that. And you can also go to my Patreon because I talk about it a lot on my Patreon. I will link this in the description down below, but since last fall, I have had the Patreon option for my subscribers. Basically, for $2 a month, you can get weekly bonus exclusive content. So what does that mean? That means that every week I do what's called the Sunday Show, where I talk about 4 to 5 pop culture stories every week, stuff in the news. It's kind of like this, just me off the cuff speaking about, different subjects and things like that. I also do usually one extra video a week. Sometimes it could be about pop culture stuff that I don't really want to talk about on the channel. So for example, I talked about the Nicki Minaj Megan Thee Stallion beef. I did more of an off-the-cuff reaction to the Tortured Poets department when it first came out. And a lot of times, if I just want to talk about something specific about Drag Race, like the All Stars 9 cast, or I think I did one about the current political messaging of Drag Race, a lot of times I'll record those and I will put them on Patreon very frequently. So if you want additional Drag Race content in addition to the rigged recap, the Patreon is a really good place to go because I'm pretty much posting about it there every week to every 2 weeks as well. The last thing that I really wanted to mention on this front is that even if I did want to post Drag Race content, like say, you know, I was tempted to make one about the ending of season 16, I'm also running into this issue where those videos, like the last couple Drag Race videos that I've posted, get automatically like age gated, so that means that like you have to be signed in to be able to watch them or they won't get recommended to you. They get demonetized, and I can't figure out why. Like, I've talked to YouTube about this issue multiple times. It only ever happens with my Drag Race videos. To my knowledge, it doesn't happen to any other creator. It just instantly gets, I don't know if there's some kind of switch flipped on YouTube on the other end for my channel that I don't know about. Like, I don't know if it sees, like, the B-roll that I use and interprets that as, like, sexual women. I have no idea. So that's, like, the final nail in the coffin there. Even if I wanted to post Drag Race content, it poses a risk to my channel because everything that I post about it for some reason gets age gated. That's a problem that YouTube has to work out within itself, but that's the full reason. Feel free to share this around because I feel like this question gets asked a lot, like why I don't do Drag Race content anymore. That is why, and those are the options you have if you would still like to hear me talk about the show. Number 2, I've gotten a lot of questions about the new set that I use. So if you've been here for a while, you know that anytime I used to be on camera, it was this background of me using my Mac desktop webcam and my mic to do little kind of like intercuts in my videos of me on camera. For Christmas, I kind of upgraded my setup a bit because my sister got me the Kayla Says sign in the background, the neon sign, which my dad like had to screw into the wall. And then for Christmas, Brian got me a brand new, really nice camera and like microphone that sits on top of the camera. The issue, though, that a lot of people have pointed out is that that setup a lot of times can look really dark. And here is the issue. Here's why our hands are kind of tied with that currently. Basically, my apartment is very small and it has no overhead lights. So the reason why the lighting looks better in here right now, even though the actual, like, camera picture is lower quality, is because we have string lights taped up all around the top of the ceiling of this room. This is our bedroom. There's no room to film in here. I don't know if you can get a sense of scale of like what this room looks like. You know what? I'll show you. So this is my desktop. This is where I edit videos and record and whatever. This is my work monitor. Ignore that. This is Brian's desk. This is our dresser. This is our bed. That's our other dresser. And then this is our closet. So that's our entire bedroom. So I can't film in here even though there's more overhead lighting in here because there's no room. So I have to film in the other room, which is our living room slash kitchen slash bathroom. And basically we carved out a little kind of portion of our living room for the current set that you see when you watch my videos. We don't have taped overhead lights in that room. All of the lighting in that room is lamps, basically. And then the set is next to a window. The window stays closed, but depending on the time of day that I film, that impacts the amount of light that is coming in naturally next to the set. And then I do have an actual, like, very bright studio light that is on my face. But again, because there's no overhead lighting and because of the window, that doesn't always translate. I am looking into getting an additional light, but it's basically a space issue and a lighting issue. The camera's actually very nice. It's just small apartment lighting. Next year, we are probably going to move, and we are probably going to move in a bigger space with a dedicated office for me to do this shit. So at that point, hopefully we have a more optimal space for a better lighting setup. That's the goal. We're gonna make it work now, though. Okay, next one. Why don't I make longer videos? This really surprised me because I had in this survey, if you took it, like an array of options for things that people wanted to see, and longer videos won by a lot. I know that tends to be like what people consume on YouTube these days. I'm all for longer content. I just watched Jenny Nicholson's 4-hour Star Cruiser video like the rest of you guys did. I will probably never make a video that long. Basically, the reason why my videos are 15 minutes at most is because I have broadcast journalism training. That's what I went to school for. And basically, if that's your mindset, you were always being taught to cut for time and to trim down fat and to not go on tangents and to get to the point. That is a very difficult mentality to break because I've been doing it for so long in my professional life. I could probably do videos that are like a half-hour max. I just have to like train my brain to do it, and the 15-minute video thing has been working out for me up until this point. So I just never thought that like people really needed that from me. If anything, I thought I was a break from that because there are so many content creators who, don't get me wrong, they do a great job, but a lot of them do like the half hour or the 45 minutes or even an hour or two. And I thought this was a good way to like differentiate myself. But a lot of you guys, you know, have told me that like you feel like I leave some information out because I'm trying to stick to this 15 to 20 minute timeline. And that's true. Again, that's just my style. That's just my training. There are things that like other YouTubers would probably leave in to videos when they're doing specific narratives or recaps. And in my brain, I'm like, that's not relevant to the meat of the story I'm trying to get to here. So I'm going to cut it for time. So I'm going to try to be better about that. I don't know if you're ever going to see like an hour, 2 hour long video from me. I also, again, I edit all of this myself. Like, I'm very much a one-man show, and my process is very much different from a lot of the other creators you probably watch, and I'll get to that in a second. And so that would also be a big workflow change for me that I haven't really figured out yet. This is a perfect segue into another topic, which is, why is your editing style not the best? And here is why. Basically, no other content creator that I know of does this. I don't recommend it. This is just how I do things because I like to turn around content fast, and especially if I'm making a video about like a timely topic. And I also work full-time. I have a 9-to-5 job, so this is just the more efficient way for me to make things happen in a timely manner. Basically, the way that I make videos is I do videos in chunks, so I will write or I will speak off the cuff based on what I'm talking about, and after I track everything, like after I track a section of the video, I will go back and lay video over that track. I basically write, research, and edit all at the same time. This is pretty much done within the span of like 6 hours, 4 to 6 hours, I would say, depending on the topic, depending on the amount of research that I have to do. Videos like How the Internet, those take longer because those are a lot more research-based and I have to consult different sources and whatnot as opposed to doing just like a review or something. For me, I know based on like my analytics and stuff that a lot of you guys are just listening to me. You're not really looking at what is on the screen, and so I also, you know, run into this other issue where like I'm talking about pop culture stuff. A lot of times I have to use copyrighted material and I have to use tactics to skirt around copyrighted material. That's why my stuff doesn't look like, you know, super high quality edited, because it's just me trying to get things out in a timely manner. I like to take time on certain things. I like to squeeze in little like edited memes and jokes here and there. That stuff is fun. But I know that like most of the time you guys are listening to what I'm saying. You don't really care about what is on the screen, and it is also a hassle to get different B-roll on the screen without getting copyright claimed. So that's the answer to that question. Last main point here, and then we'll get into some more like goofy rapid fire stuff like videos that I want to do and stuff that I won't do, stuff like that. This is the last main one. It's basically, why do you change your thumbnails so much? Why do you change your titles so much? Why do you unlist videos that don't perform well? This is why. Okay, I know people don't like this. I know it's frustrating as an audience member. I'm not the only one who does this. Actually, FD Signifier has a really good video about why this works. Basically, once you upload a video, you can't really change anything about the video in real time, right? Like, the content of the video is what's out there, and that's it. YouTube's editing tools don't really allow you to go in and, like, change things to try to attract a certain audience. So what you do have control over after you upload is how the video is packaged. So that's the thumbnail and the title. Thumbnail changes do work. I'll give you a concrete example. The Jennifer Lopez video that I did, it has like almost 200k views now, I think. When I first premiered that video, it completely flopped. Doesn't matter why it was flopping, I knew it was a good video. So I, did different rounds of thumbnails to try to get the algorithm to pick it up, because basically if you're repackaging how it looks and more people are clicking on it in recommendations, that causes YouTube to recommend your video more. The JLo video, I finally settled on whatever thumbnail I picked for it, and pretty much overnight after I did that, it started getting like thousands and thousands of views per hour. It's a total crapshoot. I don't know why it works. I don't know the science behind it. I like making thumbnails. I like testing new things out. I come up with ideas after I make thumbnails, and I'm like, oh, let me go in and try that. And that's why I do it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I don't know why it's a huge deal. I don't know why every time I do it, people are like, you changed the title and the thumbnail. Fucking good job, you have eyes. The unlisting thing is more common. If you don't know, I will unlist videos that don't perform well. Only ones that like really, really bomb. And people don't like this. I get why, because even if you're part of the core audience and like, you're watching it and you're enjoying it, like, why should it matter if it doesn't catch on to a bigger audience? And like, I get that, I understand it. I also understand why content creators don't do it, because they spend a lot of time on their videos and so they want them to stay up. I have found that this is, it's a nuclear option, but it is an option that allows me to like maintain some level of control and quality control over the algorithm. Because if you make too many wrong moves, and I know this sounds insane, but like there are thousands of channels that this has happened to that you have probably watched it, you haven't thought about in a very long time who this has happened to. You make too many wrong moves, YouTube cuts you off. They won't recommend your shit at all. Unlisting helps that. It helps, the algorithm kind of balance out and gauge the actual range of like what your view range is, and it doesn't focus as much on the outliers and the things that bomb. It also is attractive to like, people who are coming to see you for the first time and they see that all of your videos have a consistently high view count. They are more likely to click on a video than like, videos that have really high views and videos that really, have lower views. That's it. It's true. It's a hard fact of life, and it does help me maintain some kind of control over who's coming and what YouTube is doing, and I like having control over those things because I put so much work into what I do. Okay, now let's do some rapid fire questions about videos that I am gonna make, that I have made, that maybe won't happen, that I'll never do, etc, etc. Things that have been asked about a lot. So, first of all, everything that I've made that I have unlisted on this channel is available on an unlisted playlist that is on my Patreon. So if you're looking for something specific that you don't see on like the main face of the channel, you can find it on that playlist, again, accessible for just $2 a month. Second one I get asked a lot, where is the Chapel Roan video? I posted a while back that I wanted to make a video about Chapel Roan and sort of just like an analysis on her persona and her character, and there is a version of that that exists on Patreon. I'm calling it Draft 1. Basically, I want to do some more editorial work on it because I don't want it to be just kind of like a nothing video where I make no point, and I feel like it is a little bit of that right now. I showed it to Patreon and they disagree with me. They think it's pretty complete, but I want to hold on to that one a little longer. So if you want to see Draft 1 of it, of the Chapel Roan video, it is available on my Patreon right now. The other ones I get asked about a lot are the Arkham video and the Arctic Monkeys video. Basically, if you don't know, I am a huge fan of the Batman Arkham video game series. That's my favorite video game series of all time. I'm a huge Batman fan in general, and I think I made an offhanded comment about it once in a video, and I jokingly said, because I never thought I'd reach 100k, that if I got to 100k, I'd say fuck it and put out a video about the Batman Arkham series. I finally got there, and people won't stop asking me about it. And also, Batman and like the Arkham games are currently having a little bit of like a renaissance moment on TikTok right now, so like I'm closer to making that video than I ever have. Do you guys hear that motorcycle outside? God damn. But it is probably going to happen, I think. Same with the Arctic Monkeys video. I'm a big fan of the band the Arctic Monkeys. I said forever ago that I was gonna do a retrospective on their album AM and like the whole Tumblr era. That is closer to coming into fruition like soon, like before the end of the summer, I'd say. So that one is probably closer to actually coming out than the Batman Arkham video, but we'll see. And finally, just to go over some briefly rejected how the internet fell out of love ideas that I get asked about all the time, I'm going to go more in depth in a Patreon video about like why I will never do a video on any of these choices, but I will never do a video about Kanye West, I will never do a video about Maddie Healy, I will never do a video about Amber Heard. If you want to know why, subscribe to my Patreon and we're going to put out a video going into depth on those and some other how the internet choices that I have had in the past. So thank you so much for watching. I hope this cleared up some frequently asked questions about my channel. Thank you so much again for 100,000 subscribers, and I'll see you soon!